and expiate the house, to atone for the house. In the first month, again, the month of Nisan, on the 14th day of the month, that's the day right before Passover starts, the day before the first Seder, for example, shall you have the Passover, this is the Paschal Lamb, a festival of 7 days. So once the night starts, it's 7 days. Unleavened bread shall be eaten. Remember that it's the first night's Seder when it is a mitzvah to eat matzah. And the prince, this is in addition to the requirements of the regular offerings of the holiday and the day, etc. The prince shall make on that day for himself and for all the people of Israel, really from himself, in the sense of it is his own possession, a bull for a sin offering. Now, the prince here is technically doing something that is optional, in the sense that it is not a requirement for the holiday. And the optional offering here is a sin offering. The very basis, the very kind of spiritual characterization of Passover is self-abnegation, is humility. Matzah versus chametz, leaven, which we are of course prohibited from eating on Passover, are actually interrelated. Jewish law dictates, this is always all the way from the Talmud, that only those 5 grains from which one can make chametz, from which one can make leaven, bread for all intents and purposes, those are the 5 grains, and only those are the grains from which one can make matzah to fulfill the mitzvah of eating matzah on Passover. And by extension, the other way around. Only those grains from which you can make matzah are those grains which are considered chametz. There are plenty of other things on Passover that are prohibited because of rabbinic edict or because of customs and stringencies. But as far as actual chametz is concerned, for example, let's say one makes cornbread entirely out of corn flour, no wheat flour at all. Though usually, from what I understand, cornbread is made with a mixture of the two. Let's say in this particular case, he only made it with corn flour. No wheat, no spelt, no oats, no rye, no nothing. In essence, it's not chametz. Now, there are all sorts of stringencies which one would follow in order to not eat such bread on, it's not really bread, such food on Passover. But fundamentally, it is not considered chametz because it's not one of the 5 grains. And so, there is an interrelationship. How can it be that from the very same 5 grains, we can make chametz and we can make matzah? Because in essence, the difference between chametz and matzah isn't what it's made from. It's not the act or the behavior, it's more the outlook. When a person behaves in a particular way because of humility, then that's matzah, the flatbread, the one that doesn't rise. When he behaves in a particular way because of the opposite of humility, because of haughtiness, that's chametz, because the bread rises. And so here, the very idea of the holiday, therefore, the holiday where we cannot have chametz and we are required to have matzah, is humility. Therefore, the prince, the highest really of the whole of the nation, is doing an optional, a voluntary sin offering. That, of course, is entirely humble.